Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, could I start by saying that any relief that is given to the people of St. Lucia, I will support and our party will support. Even in good times, we will support these initiatives. And the Prime Minister went into the history, went into a little bit of history, economic history. I will not go down that path this afternoon. There will be a lot of time to go down that path. But the only good thing about economics is the figures never lie. That's a good thing. And when the time comes, and we have to measure the level of deficits, the deficits on the current accounts, the deficit on the primary accounts, the overall deficit, the debt to GDP ratio, we will see, and we'll have a very interesting debate. A debate that I hope is laced to fact and not to fiction. So I'll wait that day when we can have that debate. So I will not go down that route today because, Mr. Speaker, my policeman father always told me that patience is a virtue. And my deceased mother, very strong Roman Catholic, used to say, the Lord works in mysterious ways. His wonders never cease. So we'll have a chance and opportunity to have a debate on all these issues. But let me start by saying that we support any initiative to assist the people of St. Lucia. Talking about assistance, I want to remind the Prime Minister that the last NIC report was tabled in this Honorable House was the 2017 report. So there may be a 2018 and a 2019. It may be an oversight, but I hope that this Honorable House has the opportunity to look at these two reports. Because, Mr. Speaker, the business of the NIC is extremely important. That is why the board of the NIC is so composed. Because the NIC, Mr. Speaker, deals with pensions of people who have worked and who have saved their money and they need it in the future. So the NIC is not an institution that we must play with. And that is why we were so vocal in our discussions when NIC funds were being used. Because as we speak, Mr. Speaker, as of June 2017, the governor of St. Lucia is indebted to the NIC for $138 million. As of June 17, the governor of St. Lucia is indebted to the NIC for $138 million. Now, out of that $138 million, 65% of that money is past due but not impaired. What that means is in the statements, that money was flagged, but not impaired means that an allowance for that was not created as a doubtful debt, but it was flagged. That 65% of the $138 million due by the government to the NIC, 65% of it should be a little closer look taken for that 65%. No, loans. Loans. In fact, I'm glad you reminded me. Loans to government represents the largest percentage of the portfolio of receivables by the NIC, followed by loans to subsidiaries. The largest percent of the portfolio, the largest percent of the receivables is due by government and its subsidiaries. And now, we're going to add probably another 40 million. Something that, let it be known, we are not saying that people do not need that relief. We're not saying that. But we just raising the point that may bring the amount due by government to the NIC to nearly $200 million. If the government intends to pay it back. They have not been told. It's grant money? Right? Well, if it's grant money, relax. You're too excited. If it's grant money, it makes it even worse. So the amount is an expense. If it's grant money, Honorable Minister of Agriculture, that means it's an expense. So that means it comes off the profit and loss. If it's grant money. So that's why we must flag it even more. Not that we're against it, but we must say it. If it's grant money. Because there are some very interesting figures. And Mr. Speaker, we need to speak about the NIC. Because the NIC is a serious institution. We need to speak about it. And I don't see the reason for the impatience when we are speaking about the NIC. We have to speak about it, Mr. Speaker. Because we talk about young people. The NIC is about the young people of St. Lucia. The actual report says in 2050, the NIC may be insolvent if changes are not done. So it's important that we speak about it. And if you're talking about the spirit of cooperation and goodwill, why you want to shut me on because I'm raising the facts about the NIC? These are facts. I'm not saying anything that's out of the order. I'm not opposing the fact that you must lend, that you must assist people. I'm not doing that. So, Mr. Speaker, there are 55,000 people. There are 55,000 people who are actively insured in the NIC. 55,000 people. That's 55,000 people. Civil servants, policemen, 10,843. So there are 45,000 people left who the NIC will have to support. Say it again. There are 55,000 people who are actively insured for the year between 2012 and 2017. 55,000. 10,000 of them for the year 2016-2017 are public servants, policemen, nurses, etc. So there are 45,000 people left who will be in need of some level of support, roughly. Mr. Speaker, so we have to find a way, Mr. Speaker, to assist out of these 45,000 people. We have to find a way to assist those who will not be employed or those who are not employed because of COVID. And if you have to follow the thinking of the Prime Minister, it means that most of these people will not be employed because of COVID and the collapse in the economy because of COVID. So it's important that we look at these issues, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, also, this act increases the benefits that the NIC can give to its contributors. And that benefit is called the Economic Relief Program. But in clause 5, Mr. Speaker, the minister is given the power to make regulations for all matters required or permitted to be prescribed under this new part, and generally for any other matter relating to an economic relief program. Again, Mr. Speaker, these are extraordinary powers, and we do not have the regulations. I want to make the point again that this is almost a leap of faith, because we don't have the regulations, and I know it will be said, when you were there, you never brought regulations. But these are extraordinary times, and we need to take extraordinary measures, because the regulations that will govern that, because before the board of the NIC usually made these changes, these pronouncements, and these activities. But now the power has been given to the minister. Again, because of the sensitivity and the importance of the NIC, we are flagging that just as an issue to be raised, to understand the tremendous power again in the hands of the minister as far as that's concerned, as is read, as is read in clause 5 of the bill. Mr. Speaker, we are asking in section 65A of the bill, Mr. Speaker, we believe section 65A that there should be a sort of time frame, because it says 40% of the insured persons have suffered a loss of income as a result of a pandemic declared by the World Health Organization. But we believe, Mr. Speaker, that should be a little tighter, and probably when we're looking at it in committee stage, we can probably make a suggestion to the Prime Minister about tightening up that process. You see, Mr. Speaker, we must sometimes protect politicians against themselves. And when you have things like people's pension funds, you must not only ring fence it, but you must tighten it. And you must make it almost impossible for politicians to be able to interfere with it at the whims and fancies. The economic relief package is necessary, but you still cannot go as if we can just do it. It's very important, Mr. Speaker. It's very important that the NIC is guarded jealously. And we've said so several times. Guarding the NIC jealously is what it's all about, Mr. Speaker. We have to guard it jealously. Because, Mr. Speaker, in the final analysis, there are serious decisions that have to be taken as far as the NIC is concerned. Very serious decisions. And these decisions will not impact only on us, but impact on our children and our grandchildren. That is why we have to ensure that all the rules as stipulated by the NIC Act, all these rules must be obeyed. The financial statements must be laid on the table, must be laid in Parliament. The reports from the actuary must be in Parliament. And the board of the NIC must be as near as possible to autonomous. They must be able to make their own decisions based on their own deliberate judgment, Mr. Speaker. And that is why anytime the opposition believes that there is any time the NIC seems not to be going down that path of independence, we are going to raise the red flag. That's our duty to the contributors of the NIC. It is our duty. We know about trust, but for there to be trust, you must give me evidence for me to trust. We cannot trust the pension funds or the future of the people of St. Lucia only on trust. We need evidence, we need documents, and we need proof. So as the party will not oppose relief to the workers of St. Lucia, will never oppose it. We are saying that based on the fantastic economic management of this government, based on the fact that this government has, according to their own reports, have taken this country from the abyss of destruction, and because of fine financial management, they have taken it where it is today. And it took COVID 3 weeks to destroy it. 3 weeks. Only 3 weeks destroyed this fantastic management of the economy. I'm saying to the government, be careful, follow the rules of the NIC, so that we can be sure, and the young people of this country can be sure, that the pension funds are being protected and not used in any way that will not benefit them in the future. So, with these brief remarks, I want to say that the opposition supports relief to the unemployed people of this country. We support it. But we want to, again, to put in a word of caution that you cannot be reckless with the funds of the National Insurance Corporation, because these funds belong to, not to us, but to our children and to our grandchildren. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.